Okay, I wanted to take a second and talk about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is not a presidential candidate. At the end of the day, he is the last person that should be on the ballot. He should be on a ballot for a different country, for a different system. Capitalism is a proof-based system. In order for a business to get up and going, it has to have proofs. On occasion, people choose to invest in companies that are at a risk, that aren't necessarily proven, but every single step of the way has to be proven. From the materials to the location it's going to be manufactured, to the warehouse, to the people and whether or not they have the knowledge to be able to create what they're trying to create. And even then, it's the tools, if they can honestly do the things that the tools need them to do. And so things might not necessarily be in your favor now, but he is the last candidate to possibly vote for. And voting for him comes at a very great cost. It might not show initially, but later on it will. Much like the people who support Donald Trump. They chose him, but it will come at some cost at some point. And so, in a few other analogies I wanted to use, it's basically like using a computer and trying to say that if you switch things around in a computer, if you base the economy like a computer and how it works, and you switch around the motherboard with another component of the computer and then switch the wires around and say that it'll still randomly work. With one line of one code incorrectly written with one single letter can literally throw off the entire system. In order for socialism to work, every single component has to be fully operational. It never has worked because if one thing goes wrong, if there's one person, then it will not work. And I can guarantee you, myself, along with many others, would never comply with such a radical idea. Honestly, if there was something that should be included with the current capitalist system, it's something to integrate the fact that computers make things work at a much quicker pace. And so theory, if there is some optimistic or optimized way of integrating capitalism and according to the metric tools that are used within it to optimize the fact that we use computers, then that could be integrated into the system of capitalism. But the most important points would be the proofs. Why would this work? What would cause this to happen? What causes and effects would this honestly and actually, in a matter of fact, make it to actually work? Because even when you have proofs in a system that is a proven system that has everything based on proofs, it still can fail. There still can be businesses that have everything done right, that have business researchers, that have an analytics showing every metric of why a certain particular deal between big companies will work, but there still can be issues that are not accounted for. That is the best thing that we can come up with in the given situations. And so really it just comes down to studying out the individual situation and educating, not being educated, but educating yourself in each proper manner of form of the tool of capitalism that is used in that specific scenario. If something doesn't work, you have to slightly move things in order to understand what does work, in order to use the proper metrics for the situation. That's how a business will work, as in it will live, it will thrive, it will cause people's lives to be in a better situation. Socialism is basically, I have ideas and I think this would be a good idea, when the reality is you have to know how things actually work. It's like you knowing how the mechanical operations of of a wireless controller honestly work, how they fit together, what causes what to happen. You can't just guess on those things, and that's literally like what capitalism works with, is with technologically advanced pieces of equipment where they have to fit together in an appropriate way in order for things to all harmoniously or clunkily work together as long as it works. And that's where the tools within capitalism come into existence. If you're in a hard spot, which I mean, I'm in a hard spot. I haven't found a day job for a long time. It doesn't mean that I don't know that I won't find one, but the reality is that, how things are and how they appear aren't necessarily always the same. The main point, though, is that you have to, at the end of the day, educate yourself out of the situation that you're in. You have to pull yourself out of your situation, which might be difficult, and it might be very difficult. But at the end of the day, you're the only one that can vouch for you and get yourself out of your situation. You have to examine your life, examine what you're doing, examine why you're doing it, and see if it's a viable direction or understanding of the type of work or type of business that you're looking to do. And once you've done that, you have to recognize the hole that you're in and measure exactly what it is that's causing you to be in that situation. And so at the end of the day, capitalism is a proven system. It's meant to make people more industrious. And at the end of the day, we want people to be industrious. Sometimes there's situations like the trust busters of the past that have to come into play to prevent monopolies from taking over. But it's a system that's worked for the past for hundreds of years. And it's ultimately brought people out of severe poverty into a place where they can actually think for themselves, be educated, not just having an education, but fully educating and understanding and then applying those principles. I once had a teacher, English, they taught English. I'm not going to say English professor or teacher because I don't want to give flack on them. But they told me that a business major or business degree was the most useless degree you could possibly get. I didn't really think too much of it at the time, but it made me think, wow, okay, well, I'm not going to get one. After my life experiences and everything I've gone through, I can tell you that in my experience, a business degree would probably be one of the most valuable degrees that I could possibly have. And so it really comes down to your situation and how it fits in with the reality of capitalism. And so Bernie Sanders, honestly, he probably he's not an option. Please do not vote for him for your sakes and for everyone else's. I honestly hope you choose a smarter candidate. Those are my thoughts, and thanks for my time. Thanks for your time.